Okay, so we're here at Fitness Australia. Barrie Elvish, CEO of Fitness Australia. It's an honour to be here. I can't tell you the last time I was here, Barry. So thanks for inviting me.
Fantastic, JT. It's great to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to a little chat to talk about what's happening and what's going on in the fitness world.
Well, before we get to that, everybody likes to know what's going on in your life.
My
You've
life?
just been on holidays. How was it?
Oh, I had a fantastic holiday. My wife and I went touring in northern Spain, got a hire car, followed the Camino Santiago walk, 300,000 people going off and finding themselves doing this walk. That was fantastic. Really lovely food, cheap wine, that sort of gear. Then for something completely different, we picked up a ship in Stockholm and did a bit of a cruise through the Baltic, through Helsinki, Tallinn, St. Petersburg, with people more my generation rather than yours, JT. So that was pretty good too. But no, fantastic break. It was something I promised my wife before I took on this role. Otherwise, she said, "You're not taking the role on." So I had to, happy wife, happy life.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was good. All good.
And for those that are unaware, you originally came in as, was it temporary or 3-month gig?
Yeah. Look, interim CEO was the original role, initially for 9 months. And I was brought in, I guess, just to have a look at the organisation and see where it's at. I mean, my experience for the last 23 years, I've been a CEO, various organisations, not-for-profit sector, primarily doing organisational change, marketing, strategic review. So I was brought in with that mandate, I guess. And then at Filex this year, we launched the new strategic direction that the board and I put together. And it quickly became obvious from some of the larger players and those with vested interests. Great strategic vision, but interim CEO doesn't quite match. So, what confidence have we got in that actually being delivered? Discussed that with the board. The board said, look, interim, full-time, permanent, they're only words. If you're interested in staying on, happy to have you stay on. So I said to the board, look, I'm happy to stay on, as long as I'm adding value that you think, as long as I think I'm contributing, and more importantly, to be completely selfish, while I'm enjoying what I'm doing, happy to stay involved. So interim's gone, permanent now, but if you look at my age, I've got a finite period, mate, so we've got to make things happen pretty quickly. Yeah, all good though.
And you made a couple of announcements at Filex, but one of the things that I noticed, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some of those announcements in the direction post-Filex, but one of the things I noticed that I think we caught up on the Thursday morning, and certainly by the end of the weekend, it looked to me like you'd drunk the fitness industry Kool-Aid. You kind of came in as this kind of laid-back guy that was almost very unemotional about his role and the industry, and it was a job. And I kind of felt by the end of the weekend you'd gone, now I get this shit. Now I get this. I understand why people love the industry.
No, look, I'm the CEO or Atava, or however you pronounce it. Look, you're quite right. I mean, I don't come from the fitness industry. Obviously interested in fitness. I've done marathons in my life. I still compete in the Noosa Tri and that sort of gear. But I'm not fitness industry. I'm not part of the Sydney Mafia. I'm not part of the Boys Club and all the rest of it. So, and that's good because it actually means that people can vent and unload on me without worrying about offending me. I don't get offended easy anyway, but it's been really fantastic to actually get that feedback. But to come back to your observation, and it's actually quite astute that you make that, JT, because look, when I took this role on, I thought, move to Sydney, great, be with the 2 sons again, first time in 6 years. My wife and I have been out with our 2 sons in Sydney, which is great. Fitness interest, that's great. But after launching the new strategic direction, the feedback that I received from individuals, from organisations, from gym owners and stuff like that was unbelievable. And I'm not bullshitting, it was really unbelievable. People coming to me and saying, thank God, for God's sake, it's at long last, Fitness Australia is going to actually get off its backside and actually do something. Because if I'm really honest, I'd have to say that in the past, I don't think we've actually serviced our members that well in terms of advocacy, pushing the fitness message. So that positive feedback, and it was really positive, has really, I guess, now I'm thinking, okay, there's something into this. This is not just me about, killing time. This is me about actually being able to add some value to an organisation. But with the new strategic direction, add value to the community, because, I started off my working career, excuse me, as an outdoor education teacher.
Oh, wow.
So there's been a link there right from the start, and I've seen physical education drop off school curricula.
Yeah.
I've seen people get overweight. I've seen the rise of mental health. I've experienced mental health issues myself. I've seen just the whole gamut of things that happen when people don't get physically active, and instead children sit on their bloody screens exercising their thumbs and stuff like that. So am I now involved? Absolutely. Have I now got personal engagement and interest? Absolutely. So for me, this is now going to be a labour of love, if you excuse the pun.
Oh, I like the idea of a kick-ass CEO, so this is pretty good.
Stand up and I'll give you one, mate.
When was the last time you did this to try?
Last year.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've done the last 3 now. Now I have to say I'm in the Masters, which is a bit of a joke because the Masters starts at 40 and I'm well
north
past
of 40.
Just a little bit, quite a bit. And I do it in a team with 2 other guys.
Yeah.
So I do the run league, which is a legacy of my marathon running as a younger person. The guy who does the cycle is 73. Yeah, unbelievable.
Wow.
And the guy who does the swim league, he's 65. So we're going to try and swap it around this year because I have to say the last 3 years running at Noosa, if you know the Noosa climate at all, and I didn't start the run until 12 o'clock. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was really hard work. So I said to the guys, I'm not doing this again unless I do the swim league because that goes first and also it's cooler. We'll see what happens.
So I'm sure we've got people watching from Noosa, whether it's on the Fitness Australia or the Active Management page. When the triathlon's on, get this guy into your gym and get him to come and have a look at it.
And this year will be a tax deduction for me.
Yes!
So how good is
how
that?
good's that? I was wondering how many gyms you might have visited in the Baltic in order to write that off on tax.
Actually, no, I didn't visit any gyms, but I did actually come across a fitness type expo on the beach in Spain, and I've got video of it.
Excellent.
Me actually there, not
Great
doing
work.
anything, but just videoing.
That's all that we need.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that strategic plan, because probably very few people in the industry know the depth and the breadth of what it is. So can you give us some bullet points on what that might
look,
be?
really basically, I guess, JT, as we were saying before, Australia is become a nation of spectators rather than participants. I mean, I was in an office in MCG a couple of months ago, and there's this big picture of the AFL Grand Final, one of those big wide pictures. And it struck me then, this is Australia now. We think we're the great sporting champions of the world, albeit we didn't win the World Cup and we didn't win the cricket and all the rest of it. But here's this picture of 110,000 people at the MCG watching 40 professional athletes do their stuff. And I reckon that encapsulates to me where we are in Australia at the moment. So we're a very unfit nation. We're one of the fattest nations in the world as well.
We can't hide from that.
We literally can't hide from it. You go down the checkout, you've got to dodge past these people. I mean, you can't hide from it. So it just struck me, and because Australia had signed up to the World Health Organisation getting more people more active, Fitness Australia was an official representative there, fantastic recognition for us as an organisation. We've got Queensland have an active state program. Tasmania's just launched a program whereby they want to be the fittest state by 2025.
Really?
Bless them.
Good on them.
Yeah, and the cold climate down there, mate, so it's going to be hard work for them.
That's good for all you guys that own gyms down there.
Absolutely. And of course now the federal government has signed up to this international agreement whereby we've committed as a country by 2030 to have 15% more people active more often.
So is that a 15-point increase on where we're currently at?
No, that's 15% of our population, additional 15%. So 25 million people in Australia, that's roughly another 6 million people or thereabouts, not a maths teacher obviously, more active, more often, genuinely, not just sitting at a bar bending the elbow, doing real stuff by 2030. Now, we've signed up to this, so we're committed to it. And the government's committed to it. Sport, the Australian Institute of Sport used to be all about getting gold medals. Now it's called Sport Australia, and it's about increasing participation. So we've got some really early days, but some early day projects with them to start this exercise. So when I first announced this at the Philex in Sydney this year, as I said, fantastic response. I had one gym owner come to me and say, hey mate, look, you know, you're an industry association. What are you doing getting involved in getting Australians more active? You should be representing gym owners. I said, well, you know, just let's unpack this a bit. At the moment, we've got, 30% of Australians members of gyms, or 20%, whatever the figure is. 20%. 6% actually go to a gym regularly. So that leaves 80% of the population,
Done.
which we aren't, exactly, doing whatever.
Yeah.
So we're not actually targeting those people. So it seems to me as an association, we've forgotten the 80 and focus on the 20. So it's the old 80-20 rule asked about, excuse the language.
Yeah. I agree with that. I actually think as an industry, we've helped the fit get fitter.
Yeah.
And we've helped the fat get more embarrassed to try to get fit.
Yeah.
And perhaps what you're thinking about is how do we almost decrease the intimidation factor of gyms to welcome people in as a stepping stone to getting fit.
Yeah, and look, it's not just fat people that won't go to gyms. It's
No,
people won't go to gyms for a lot of reasons. They can't afford the Lycra, they can't afford the Nikes. They don't know what they're going to do in there. They're a person of my age who go to a gym and they're confronted by a 25-year-old six-pack character who doesn't know how to relate to an older person and so on. So anyway, if we can get more Australians more active, by definition, a percentage of those people will gravitate to a gym. So it's not going to be a sugar hit overnight, but it's going to be a much more intensive, long-lasting exercise. So I participate in park run now on a Saturday morning.
I did my first park run the other day.
There you go, okay?
It was awesome.
It is awesome.
What a community.
It's fantastic. And you see people pushing their bubs in strollers, you see old folks walking and having a chat, you see all kinds of different things. But since I've been involved in parkrun, I've noticed a couple of guys have said, and they are guys because I don't talk to the females because otherwise it's like, they've said to me, look, we're going to do the City to Surf. Fantastic. You should think about doing an education, training program so you're ready for it. So you don't, pull a hammy or whatever.
Yeah.
The next step they'll do is probably do a marathon, whatever. So the same thing's going to apply to if we can get more Australians more active. Some of them are actually then going to gravitate to I like this, I want to go to a gym and actually do a bit more stuff. And then so it's going to be a real benefit to the industry. But you know what? It's going to be an even better benefit to the community, which then will benefit the industry. So it's going to be, I believe, if we're successful, and we really need the gyms and the personal trainers to get out there and start promoting this, because the more that we can make it happen, we're all going to benefit.
Well, it's interesting you bring up parkrun, because when I was doing the parkrun the other day, I saw 3 people on that parkrun that all go to the same gym I go to.
There you go.
So it's not like parkrun's taken away from gym memberships. And I'm sure there was probably 4 or 5 others there that were running with their personal trainer.
Yeah.
On that parkrun.
Well, it's a motivation, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's something the trainer hasn't got to organise. He rocks up with his client and goes, I'll run this through with you.
Yeah.
So I think, so how do we get more people active? What's the government saying, or what Fitness Australia saying?
There's a whole range of things. I mean, we're starting 2 early projects, one in early childhood and another one at the other end of the spectrum with Kokoda. So with the early childhood one, we're talking to Sports Australia about how we can get young kids, and I'm talking 3 to 8-year-olds, involved in physical activity. Now, for my sins, I was the CEO of an early childhood organisation.
I remember that.
For 13 odd years. And one of the things that I was involved with there was I was appointed to a government's expert advisory panel on putting together the National Quality Accreditation for childcare and kindergartens. Cut a long story short, all children going to childcare and kindergarten now, by mandate, have to do outdoor activities.
Really?
By mandate. Okay? It's not optional.
More than just playing outside, they've got to actually do
they've got to do some structured exercise. Now, the problem arises where you've got a workforce in early childhood which are not confident or not competent to deliver those sort of programs.
Yeah, sure.
So what we're talking to Sport Australia about is using our personal trainers, accredited trainers, to go out and train mums, okay, to deliver the programs in those centres. And the beauty of that is you've got mother and child exercising together.
Yeah.
That will hopefully translate into outside of an early childhood setting. You've got mums being, and I'm using mums because dads don't get involved in early childhood for a whole range of social and perception reasons and stuff like that. But you've got mums who've actually then got a network, they can bring in other mothers to train with their children. You're giving them a school they can actually then work part-time on if they wish to while the kids are still at school or at childcare. So you've got win, 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 win all the way down.
Yeah.
Now, the average AusRep that we have on our books is a 36-year-old female.
Wow, that's interesting. Is there any other data you can share around the average person?
There's 2 females for every male on our books.
Wow.
And they've been there for an average of 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was...
That's fascinating data.
Well, when I joined Fitness Australia, I thought, well, these are all going to be 25-year-old males.
I wouldn't have picked males, but I would have picked 25-year-olds. I would have picked...
with a big six-pack.
Yeah. Or one.
Well, one pack, yeah.
That's fascinating.
It is. Now, the beauty of that is that...
It's perfect for early childhood, isn't it?
Fantastic, because who is your average mother of a 3 or 4-year-old? 36-year-old female. Which also meant when I was going to talk to Lorna Jane last Friday up in Brisbane, and we were talking about this sort of program, and of course the area is picked up straight away. Well, that's our perfect demographic, 36-year-old females. How can we get involved and stuff like that? So that's one little program which I'll be pursuing in more detail next week down in Melbourne with Sport Australia. The other exercise...
Sorry, and we're pretty lucky because obviously you having that background in early childhood, you understand all the laws, the intricacies, the compliance required, so we can dovetail off your knowledge to be able to be more successful.
And JT, it's a personal interest of mine. Obviously, you don't get involved in any industry for 13 years without having any personal involvement there. So that's really exciting. The idea is to finish that story off, I guess, is that we'll then roll it into year 1 and year 2 in school settings. That will then help the mums and the children transition from early childhood settings into a formal school setting, which is where a lot of the problems start with education and stuff like that. So it's just got so many positive outcomes. I'm really, really excited about that. The other age of the spectrum that we're talking to is Kokoda, Council of the Ageing. They've just been given a huge amount of government money, which is fantastic, to get aged people, or my age, seniors, whatever you want to call them, more involved in resistance-based training. We're not just talking about in aged care homes, we're talking about in a park, in a gym, encouraging people of post-55, etc. to get more involved in physical activity. So they want to use our trainers again to actually start opening up the gyms in the downtimes, between 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon sort of business. Again, early days, and we had to wait for the federal election to be over because I think, like most of us, those agencies were surprised with the election. We were all expecting a different result. Having said that, though, look, we met with the new federal minister last week, Richard Colbeck, who's got a really interesting portfolio. He's got aged, youth, and sport.
Wow.
Which is a really interesting portfolio.
Big mix.
Big mix. There's been some criticism from those constituents, those 3 different constituents, saying it's too mixed. But for Fitness Australia and our members, it's a perfect mix.
It's great for us, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So he was really keen to talk to us about how we can work with the government to push their agenda and also push the age and push the youth and so on.
Did you kind of hold back while the election was on rather than pursue either a Liberal Party or a Labor Party, just kind of, let's just see what happens here?
Look, if I'm really honest, which just now I have to be, we had anticipated a change of government, so we started...
I think everybody almost did.
Yeah, so we started...
Even Stoma probably.
No, he was praying.
Oh, yeah.
Shouldn't have said that. So look, we had started down a particular strategy whereby we thought Labor were going to get in, but I've been really encouraged by the reception we've got so far from the new ministry. The federal government signed up in October last year, so it was a Liberal coalition government signed up to the International World Health Organisation treaty, so we just worked with what we got. And I would hope that both sides are I would hope it's a bipartisan.
You'd hope so.
You really would, wouldn't you? Because at the end of the day, and we learned this with early childhood, when we did the research back in early childhood about the benefit of having university qualified teachers deliver programs, the evidence came in that for every $1 invested in early childhood, there's a $7 return.
Wow. When
those kids become adults. And that's because they have less time in jail, less time unemployed, less time in drug addiction, less mental health and so on. So the education provides that basis. The early days evidence for investing in physical activity, coincidentally, is a 700% return as well. invest $1 in preventative health, it's going to save you more than $7 in dealing with obesity, mental health, heart, and all the rest of it. Now, you would know that being a professional in this industry more than I do, but the evidence is there. And strangely enough, NIB encouraged us to go and speak to them. I met with them last week. They were really keen to see what they can do to work with us and our gyms and our trainers to put in preventative health. They're doing it for the good of the country, fantastic, but they're also doing it for financial reasons because they want younger people joining health insurers because they don't claim.
Yep.
It's the older generation that claims. If the young kids don't join, the elders claim more. So they're really keen, and they said, look, we want to talk to Fitness Australia about how we can support their members in using gyms that are accredited with us or registered with us, ideally accredited with us, but also using our trainers. And JT, the thing that really came out to me loud and clear, and I know there's some other players in the field and that sort of gear, and they may be watching this stream, but the government, the health insurers, the potential partners have really stressed the importance of accreditation and standard maintenance of the exercise professionals and the gyms. I think we have to be really careful that we do never dilute those standards or go down a path whereby we're seen to dilute those standards, because the other players who are critical to us in our success in this new strategy, but also critical to business and AusReps, are saying we want the risk management, I guess, guarantee that someone is overseeing professional standards.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
I think for my experience in the industry over the last 30 years, when I was involved with Fitness New South Wales and Fitness Australia and the equivalent of AusReps years ago, we were held on a pedestal as a country with our registration process, and other countries really wanted to get to what we had. And I think as an industry, we've almost devalued what that accreditation and the credibility factor of having a registration system is so critical, because how else does the government minimise risk?
Yeah, and how can the government be seen to promote physical activity unless they know where they're channeling those people, those Australians? There's not some sort of, I guess, insurance that they're going to be safe.
Yeah.
They're not going to be picked up by some sort of cowboy trainer or running out of, running some sort of program which has got no validity behind it, scientific, academic, physical, whatever you want to call it.
It's just the bloke in the garage that this is what I did, but I don't know if it's going to work for you, but we'll give it a crack.
Yeah. So to me, it's critical, and it gives us a voice at the table as well. The fact that the federal minister asked us to go and see, him within 4 weeks of being appointed, that's almost unheard of, to actually get that access so soon.
Yeah, that is.
It's really quite amazing. So
how many ministers have you caught up with since the change of the new government?
Well, just the one, the federal minister.
Yeah.
I've asked for meetings with the Queensland and Tasmanian state counterparts.
Yep.
Because of their particular state programs. The other thing the minister
There's one in WA as well. I've got a client in Albany, and he's doing some stuff where they're going into the community and teaching the community or individuals in the community on how to do walking programs and yoga programs, and then they're going to self-run that. Similar thing to what you say with childcare. So there might be someone in WA as well.
That'd be great. And I would welcome any feedback from anyone who's watching this to say, you need to go and see so-and-so. Feed it back, because we're here to serve you guys as our members. So
there seems to be, I guess, this influx of interest around exercise, because there's so much data that's now coming out about the poor health of our country, and yet there's also this information that's coming out that exercise can help. So are we on the crest of a wave?
Yeah, look, I think we are. I think one of the risks we have is when I read reports coming out from agencies that put this information together saying that Australians have to do 60 minutes a day or they've got to walk 10,000 steps. There was an article in the Weekend Australian last weekend about how much exercise is good or is not good for you and stuff like that. We have to be really careful not to scare people off.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming off the couch, literally, and you think,
I've got to do 10,000 steps.
I've got to do 10,000 steps, or I've got to run for an hour or something, it's never going to happen.
No.
It's never going to happen. We've got to, it literally is small steps to start off with and progress from there. And if we're not careful, we're going to put people off right from the start. So I think we have to maybe lower our expectations and give people the opportunity to actually start, because I'm sure you're the same as me. When I first started getting involved in sport as a school kid, you get into it, you start to enjoy it, then it goes from there, and it becomes a lifelong thing, unless injury or whatever, or family circumstances or whatever stop you from doing it. But once you get hooked, it's we all know the endorphin high when you're running, and I guess you get it in other ways in other activity as well. But to say to someone who's sitting on a couch or in the bar or having a fag or whatever, you've got to go and do now 30 minutes or 60 minutes, it ain't going to happen.
No.
And I think we also have to work with mums and wives and partners, because, us men, we're a bit slow sometimes in picking up messages. And sometimes we need to have that motivation, and to me, a great motivator for me would be to say to a person, look, do you want to be around for your child's wedding? Do you want to be around to actually play with your grandchildren? Be able to play with, not only be alive, but actually physically able to...
Get on the ground.
Get on the ground, yeah. Because I can tell you from first-hand experience, that is a fantastic thing to do. Look, it's small steps to start off with, but it'll happen.
Now, I'm sure you have Google Alerts set up in this office.
We do.
But if anybody's watching and you see articles in the newspaper or you hear it in your local media where you kind of want to question what the message is, it would be great for you to feed that back to Fitness Australia, so then Fitness Australia can work with you in your local media to come and say, hey, let's debunk this myth and this is the message that... Because really the message we want is any movement is better than no movement. Absolutely. And we can move up from there.
Yeah. And we've just commissioned some early research survey work to find out what are the main inhibitors to people actually starting. People in the industry, I think, probably know that already, but I don't know if the general population and government policy makers necessarily do.
Yeah.
So that'll be really interesting.
There was a study done by IRSA
on
why people join gyms. Now, it would be, I want to say, 15 years old now. But if you haven't seen that, I can get that too.
That'd be great,
Yeah.
Look, all information is gratefully received,
Now, we talked about the politicians that you've seen. You also mentioned NIB. What's the state of play with the fitness industry and health funds?
Yeah, look, we dropped the ball there for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that happened. Certainly from a strategic or business point of view, it doesn't make sense to me. So the discussions with NIB is the start of discussions with all of NIB, the fourth largest health insurer, but we'll be talking to all of them, as you would have picked up from your park run, sponsored by Medibank. So we'll be talking to all of the health insurers about how we can generate some genuine benefits for their members. When I first moved up to Sydney from Victoria to take on this role, I went to the local Fitness First and said, have you got any rebates or special offers for private health? They said, we can give you a discount, but it wasn't the sort of thing we're talking about. We want to have a situation whereby it's a little bit more than just a discount to get you through the door. It's going to be something which has got some value to you in the long term. NIB are talking about reduced premiums.
Wow.
And or a point system, much the same as a frequent flyer type thing, where you accumulate points and you get, you buy something or whatever through your points. So early days of them, but we need to reinvigorate those sort of things. And again, it comes back to, NIB again made it very clear, we're only going to partner with you if we know that there's a quality assurance here.
That's so critical, isn't it?
And the gyms are quality assured, or at least they're registered with Fitness Australia, because we don't want to, again, they don't want public relations disaster where they've put someone through or recommended something and it's gone pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So...
And there's going to be more need for gyms to be accredited or trainers to be registered. particularly if you bring on 3, 4, 5 health funds.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to be asking the same thing.
Absolutely. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling exercise. Look, I'm very much aware that our Oz reps, or some of our Oz reps and some of the members are saying, why do we pay our membership fee to Fitness Australia? And if I'm brutally honest, I would probably say, and this is not pushing my own barrow here, but if I looked at it and said 12 months ago, I'd be asking the same question myself. What I would say to you now, if you're still questioning that, renew it for this year. Give us the 12 months to actually demonstrate to you what we're trying to do here, show you the benefits, and I'm very confident that come a very short time in the future, people will be saying, how do we join, rather than should we join.
Now, you've done something interesting with the EPs. You've opened up registration, is that right, for EPs?
Yeah, look, that's again, and I don't like to harp on the early childhood experience, but I had a situation in early childhood where university qualified early childhood teachers weren't recognised to work in childcare.
So they went to uni for 4 years, but they couldn't work in childcare.
And they've got an early childhood education degree. They can work in a kindergarten. In fact, they have to be university qualified to work in a kindergarten, but weren't recognised in a childcare. And we had a similar situation here.
That's almost identical parallel to us, isn't
Absolutely. It? And it's identical, JT. And it struck me as passing strange that a person that's done a 3 or 4 year university degree wasn't getting the recognition that a person, and I'm not devaluing an RTO course at all, I mean, it's horses for courses, but to say that one wasn't at least the equivalent didn't make sense. And when we unpacked that, it was because the university degree didn't have a business management component in it, but then we have a lot of exercise professionals who work as employees under a manager like yourself or something like that. They don't need to have that. So we've changed the process now whereby a university graduate can now get registration as a exercise professional with us.
Now, I don't know if you're going to know the answer to this. How do they do that? Do they just go onto the website? Do they have to contact someone in the office?
I'm going to be pretty sure they're just on our website now. If they try that and it doesn't work, then I'd want them to contact me and we'll make it work.
Great. That's really exciting for the industry.
All right, well, it's a no-brainer,
yeah,
really.
absolutely.
I mean, why have this demarcation in industry when everyone's trying to do the right thing? It's crazy.
Do you know how many fitness instructor or registered fitness people have ever registered in Australia?
No, I couldn't tell you that. I mean, well, I could tell you, but I don't know the answer off the top of my head yet.
It'd be interesting to know because, like, I'm one of those people. I still work in the industry, and I think it's the accounting industry where you can be a non-working accreditation or something. I've always said I reckon that's a great opportunity to raise some revenue where we could give back. We're still working in the industry, but I don't need to be a registered fitness instructor anymore. But I still wouldn't mind collecting some of the research or the data.
Yeah. Look, one of the things we're looking at with Fitness Australia is, and again it comes back to the old way of doing things, is that we haven't embraced allied health professionals or allied health organisations, so Pilates, yoga, those sort of activities we haven't recognised, registered, whatever. And again, when the industry is moving down a wellness concept rather than going to a gym, get your six-pack, physical wellness, the actual physical fitness is only one part of a spiritual, emotional well-being, holistic view. And so we need to be out encouraging those organisations to come to us as well, and we need to be out actually embracing them. And we talked about Filex earlier on when we launched the strategic direction there. I think Filex also needs to go down that path as well, of embracing other allied type activities rather than just sitting on the go to a gym or do this sort of business.
So, question without any notice,
yeah.
So you can take the fifth if you need to. If you gaze into the crystal ball, do you imagine in 5 years or 10 years' time that we're still called Fitness Australia?
No. That won't be my decision, of course.
No, of course.
But
similar, because New Zealand have gone from Fitness New Zealand to the Exercise Association of New Zealand.
Yeah. And look, I can't see that no, I don't think it will be Fitness Australia. I don't think it will be the exercise, whatever New Zealand is.
Yeah, I don't think exercise is the right word.
Yeah, I think that's actually, that's half one, six of the other.
Yeah.
We have to come up with and I don't mean this from a marketing point of view, but we have to come up with an inclusive name and culture that encourages anyone who's involved in improving and maintaining the well-being of an Australian.
Yeah.
Brings them under our umbrella.
And that's so important because there's so many of those allied health organisations that really don't have a peak body. They just sort of float around.
Yeah.
And they're almost a hobby business, but they are a business.
Yeah, and they're a legitimate business.
Yeah, and they have an impact on the health of people.
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. So we need to embrace them and bring them in. Because if we can actually bring them in under our wing, and then overlay on top of that the accreditation, excuse me, and the standards, it's a win for them, and it's a win for their consumers.
Yeah. So over the next, I don't know, 12, 18, 24 months, what do you see moving forward for the organisation, for the industry, trends? What's your gut feel? Because it's so great to talk to someone who's new in the industry because you're not tainted by history to predict what you're seeing moving forward.
Yeah. The downside of that, JT, is that you're talking to someone who's also very naive about the industry, what it might actually mean in reality and things like that. So I might have more of an holistic view.
I love that. I love an idealistic view.
Yeah, but people.
It may not be realistic,
but that's. Yeah. I guess that's what I'm sort of saying. I guess in the ideal world, which may not translate to the real world, in the ideal world, the whole concept of barriers between how a person's wellness is enhanced, maintained, etc., is dissipated. In an ideal world, we have people that are actively seeking out pastimes, activities, information to improve their overall wellness, and they're doing that because it's not just a selfish personal thing, it's because they want to enjoy the wonderful things that life's got to offer. I mean, so many times we pick up a newspaper, turn on the TV, and it's all doom and gloom. It's all the world's coming to an end, it's climate change, it's Trump, it's whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I think we forget that the world now, and I have to say now, just to preface this, I was an outdoor education teacher and a history teacher. The world that we live in now is a far, far better place than it's ever been. So we have to take out the sensational negativity and actually appreciate and understand that we actually live in a place which has got so much potential.
Yeah.
And that potential has to be translated to us as individuals, our families and the community. Early childhood, there's a message which says a child is raised, or it takes a village to raise a child. Okay, so it's more than just the parents, it's a community.
Yeah.
And I think we have to almost embrace a similar thing with wellness. And I'm using wellness particularly here, not just physical activity, the wellness of our individuals, our community and our nation.
And part of that, I guess, looking from the outside at Fitness Australia now, is your team are out there in the trenches probably more than ever before. Is that right? I mean, I see Fitness Australia on social media, on every platform, engaging with people, getting the message out. It just seems to be you're waving the flag a bit more than you had previously.
Yeah, look, we're waving the flag. We just need to make sure they're not waving the surrender flag.
Oh, it's not white. The one I saw was a rainbow, so it's all right.
Well, no, hang on. All right, we're going that path too. But we also need to make sure our troops get out of the trenches.
Yep.
And actually start, moving forward and things like that. And it's as I said before, the world we live in now is a better place. We look at IT and technology. I was reading a book just recently which sort of said, the pace of change has never been as fast in the history of technology and man today. Tomorrow, it's never been as slow. Now there's not a contradiction, but if we look at the fact that the rate of technology is going like this,
yep.
So we're here, so okay, it's never been as fast, but it's actually increasing exponentially.
Yep.
So it's never going to be as slow again. The problem we have as human beings is our ability to cope with change is not as, the trajectory is nowhere near as much. So one goes that way, one goes that way. So the gap between our ability to cope with change, be it technology, be it anything,
Starting an exercise program even.
So an exercise program is only widening, and that's why we have to think about the wellness of us. Mental, physical, whatever, social and so on. And when we're talking about IT, mate, I know that you've got an event coming up.
Yep.
And I would encourage any exercise professional, anyone, any member of the public actually to look at that program and think about going, because IT...
Yeah, it's certainly interesting, the technology in the fitness industry, and it's something that I think as an industry we're getting our heads around. We've been a bit slow to the party on that. Thank you to Fitness Australia for supporting it. I'll give you a wrap that when Fitness Australia sent the message out that the Technology Summit was on, so far you guys are topping the leaderboard for registration.
As I would expect.
So congratulations. If you're watching today and you haven't registered, you still can. Use the code Fitness Australia and you'll save $100 on registration. And are you going to come to the summit? Have you got the ability to be there at all?
Well, it's interesting because Ange and I were talking about that was just before we started this session, and I said, I'll ask JT if he wants me there. If he doesn't want me there, I'll get some of my other staff to go there, but I'd love to go, but only if I'm going to be able to
Absolutely.
get you guys out.
Well, come to the dinner on the Thursday night. There's a 4-hour beverage package. I'll organise an Uber for you. And that's where we've got Katie Forsey from Facebook speaking, but that's the opening night, and we'd love to have you there.
Yeah.
Definitely there, and if you can come back to the office on the Friday.
I'm actually in Melbourne there's a national sporting conference in Melbourne.
There is too, the same week.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so if I can get out of it, finish my sessions down there,
I saw that was on.
I'll come up to the drinks package. As long as it's thrown in complimentary.
Yeah, it's free. It's free.
Yeah.
If
but
you're not,
except I'm having a dry July, so...
Oh, well, then stay in Melbourne and Gatecrash the Belgravia conference that's down there at the same time.
Well, I'm seeing Belgravia on Friday, actually, because, I don't know why it is, but they haven't renewed their membership quite yet. And I really think they need to come to the party.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense at all, because we need them and they need us. Yeah.
So speaking of Belgravia, and we'll finish up very shortly, you said right at the beginning, some of the big players in the industry have their heart warmed by the new direction.
Yeah.
That's great that the big players are. What about the small players? Have you got much feedback from the small players?
No, look, I haven't actually, JT, and I don't know if that's because they haven't got the time or the energy or the inclination, whatever, and obviously the bigger players have got a bigger capacity to respond. But it's really important that we don't represent just one section of that part of our membership base, and I would really encourage all people to come. And I was encouraged, I have to say, as I said before, at the Filex in Sydney. I was at a Filex Immersive in Brisbane on Saturday and had similar feedback from people there. In fact, there was one lady there who used to be on our board. I won't mention her and embarrass her, but she said she hadn't renewed a Fitness Australia membership since 2017, but she was going to go home and renew it on the Monday yesterday. So hopefully, boom, yeah. So it's I'm really encouraged, and as I say, a little bit naive perhaps, a little bit idealistic, but that's where good things come from.
I'm sure at different stages of today's stream, people have been tuning in or out, coming back, coming forward. We'll put a recording of this on both the Fitness Australia and the Active Management platform so you can go back and digest it. Are there elections coming up this year for Fitness Australia board members?
There are, and actually that's fantastic you've mentioned that, because one of the changes we are hoping to make is that our board is going to change in its composition, so there will be more females on our board.
Great.
There will also be, for the first time, our exercise professionals will be able to vote, nominate, and will get a board position.
Fantastic.
So there will be, in the draft changes, which are going to a special general meeting very soon, there will be 2 gym owners members, so business members.
Yep.
2 exercise professional memberships.
Yep.
And 3 independents who will be brought on particularly for their skill set and experience to help drive this strategic direction forward. So, yeah, AusReps will get a vote, they can nominate, they can be elected.
Wow. Do you know when you know, the dates amongst that might happen?
Well, the special general meeting to approve those changes will be held hopefully late August, September, and in October is the formal AGM. So assuming those changes go through, and I have no reason to doubt that they won't, then we will then broadcast through our channels to our members that these changes are happening and encourage people to nominate. That will then go through a nominations committee and they will sort out not the wheat from the chaff, but people who they think can add value.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that now it's going to be truly a representative industry body.
Absolutely, that's amazing.
23,000 AusRep members, 3,500 gym members. We need to fix up where that voice can sit.
So if you're watching today, just put in the comments below elections or I want to stand or make the fitness industry great again. Yeah. Put something in the comments below, and I'm sure Maddie, who keeps a close eye on the social media platforms for Fitness Australia, will then be able to get back to you and ensure that you're getting the information around the election, because that is very much a game changer.
It's a fundamental change, and in fact, JT, we should do this again in 3 months after they've gone through the changes to just, I guess, do a recap on what it means.
Love to. That'd be awesome.
Fantastic.
All right. Any final messages for our people out there in the interweb?
In the interweb, internet, ether, stick with us. I really hope you like the new direction. I really hope you support it, and it's going to be onwards and upwards. Well, I'm absolutely grateful for being able to chew your ear for 45 minutes today. Still a bit left, so... Yeah, got a cauliflower. Fitness Australia doing some great things. What I would like to finish with is a really strong emphasis that we need one peak body, and we need that accreditation system if we're going to have the government, if we're going to have Lorna Jane, if we're going to have any of the health organisations, health funds, anybody going to listen to us, we've got to have that registration system and one voice. Yep. So please give them another crack, have another go, be part of this community, because you guys are doing some great things and I can see great leadership moving forward. Thanks, JT. Pleasure. Thank you, sir. Catch you guys soon.